You think time is on your side, that with age comes leverage, that your wisdom, your composure, your life experience will speak louder than anything else in the room. You assume she'll see it, appreciate it, maybe even stay because of it. But here's the hard truth most older men never hear, the thing no one says out loud. It's not your money she notices first, not your smooth delivery, not your polished confidence. It's the hunger behind your eyes, that subtle ache to be seen, that quiet need to be admired again, that hope she might make you feel like you're still in your prime. And that is exactly when the game flips. Because the moment you start reaching for her fire instead of standing firm in your own, she sees it. She senses the imbalance, and she starts pulling strings. Not because she's cruel, but because you've shown her something more valuable than your age, your insecurity. This isn't just about the years between you. It's about your presence, your self-respect, the unspoken energy you carry. The second you abandon who you are to chase what she represents, you give away all your power. So if you're an older man, even 5 years older, and you're drawn to a younger woman, listen closely. There's one mistake that erases everything. One misstep that changes how she sees you forever, and how you see yourself. Let's talk about it. Number 1, you become someone you're not. The moment you start shrinking yourself to fit her world, you tell her you're ashamed of your own. That's what happened, instantly, without even realizing it. Let's call him David. CEO, respected and grounded. The kind of man who walked into rooms and people paid attention. Then she walked in, and suddenly, his voice softened. His back curved. He started tossing around slang he'd never used, cracked jokes that didn't land, mentioned TikTok like it was part of his daily routine. He referenced songs he didn't know, artists he'd never listened to, and laughed too loud at things that weren't even funny. In under a minute, he stopped being a man and started playing a boy. She didn't lose interest because of his age. She lost interest because he abandoned who he was. Ask yourself, what drew her to him in the first place? It wasn't youth. She's surrounded by young men. It wasn't energy. She's got that in abundance. It wasn't his pop culture knowledge. She lives in that world every day. It was his stillness, his presence, that quiet confidence that comes from a man who doesn't need to perform. The calm, assured way he moved, like someone who's seen storms and no longer flinches. The way he carried his scars, his age, his story like they were treasures, not burdens. And yet, in the space of one glance, he let it all go, just to impress her. Marcus Aurelius once said, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." But the older man who tries to mirror the youth around him has already forgotten his own worth. You are not 25. And that's not a weakness, that's your strength. That gray hair? That's not a flaw. That's a sign you made it through. Those lines on your face? They're not decay. They're proof you felt, fought, cried, loved, and learned. And that experience you carry? That's not baggage. It's your greatest gift. If anything in this message hits home, support this channel. Like and subscribe. Not just for the clicks, but so we can reach more men who need to hear this. Number 2, you turn her into your midlife crisis trophy. The moment you start flaunting her like she's some kind of achievement, you stop seeing her as human. Here's the second trap older men fall into, and it's one that quietly erodes attraction. They make the entire relationship about themselves. Suddenly she's in every photo, every conversation, every social gathering. Not because you cherish who she is, but because you want the world to see what you've pulled. It's no longer her story, it's your victory lap. Look what I've still got in my corner. Look who I can still attract at this age. But behind that brag is a silent admission. You don't truly value her, you value what she represents. You're not in love with her, you're in love with what her presence says about you. And that's a fatal move for 2 reasons. First, it screams insecurity. Any man who needs a young woman beside him to feel wanted never really believed he was desirable to begin with. And nothing kills attraction faster than insecurity pretending to be confidence. Second, it strips her of her identity. She's not your revival story. She's not your confidence booster. She's not your silent proof that you've still got it. She's a person. With her own dreams, her own fears, her own story. She doesn't orbit your self-esteem. She's not a background prop in your movie. The moment she senses that her value to you lies in how she makes you look, not how she makes you feel, the respect starts to slip. And once you lose her respect, love won't be far behind. Seneca once said, "Every change of fortune is either a test of character or a gift of wisdom." The way you treat her is a reflection of your character. Do you see her as an equal, as someone you genuinely admire? Or as a symbol, a polished surface to reflect your fading ego? Younger women are intuitive. They can tell when they're wanted, and they can smell when they're being used. They know the difference between sincere affection and a man trying to patch up his self-worth with someone else's youth. So ask yourself, when you met someone who truly impressed you, was it because they needed your validation? Or because they already stood solid on their own? At the end of the day, that's what makes you magnetic. Your independence. Your calm, your completeness. That's what draws her in. And that's what makes her stay. Number 3, you make her your escape from aging. The man who tries to relive his past through her presence ends up losing both the woman and himself. This is the third trap, and it's a quiet killer of attraction. Using her as a portal back to the younger version of yourself. Suddenly you're going places you haven't stepped into in decades. Loud clubs, wild parties, late nights that stretch into early mornings. You're staying out until 3 a.m. when your body was used to winding down at 10. You're drinking like you're 25, and waking up feeling like you're 60. And in your mind you think this makes you more relatable. You think you're showing her that you're still with it, still fun, still young enough to ride her wave. But what you're really doing is erasing the very things that made her notice you in the first place. She wasn't drawn to you because you could keep up. She was drawn to you because you didn't have to. Because you had already been there, done that, and outgrown it. Because your confidence didn't need flashing lights and loud music to exist. Because your power came from stillness, from presence, from the kind of wisdom that doesn't try to compete. She doesn't want you to become her party partner. She wants you to be the anchor in her chaos, the calm in her storm, the man who knows who he is and isn't trying to chase who he used to be. The truth is, you can't win the energy game. You don't recover like you used to. You don't bounce back the same way. You have different needs now, different rhythms, different values. And ironically, that's what makes you magnetic to her. Your clarity, your groundedness, your refusal to perform. As Epictetus once said, don't demand that things happen as you wish. Wish that they happen as they do, and you will do well. Your reality is not a disadvantage, it's a gift. Stop resisting your age. Start owning it. She's not looking for another 25-year-old. She already knows where to find them. She's searching for the man who's grown past that, the one who doesn't need to prove anything by drinking more, staying out later, or pretending to be what he's not. She wants consistency. She wants peace. She wants a man who lives with purpose, not a man chasing lost youth. And when you throw all of that away trying to impress her, you're not showing strength. You're giving up the one edge you actually had. You're giving up the very things that make you powerful, just to compete in a space where the odds were never in your favor to begin with. But here's what cuts even deeper. In trying to win her over, you start losing yourself. You become a stranger to your own values. You bend, twist, and shrink into someone you no longer recognize, all for a woman who, ironically, was first drawn to exactly who you were before the performance began. And that's the tragedy. She won't lose respect for you because you can't match her energy. She'll lose respect because you tried to. Not because you're older, but because you're pretending not to be. The disappointment doesn't come from your age. It comes from your denial of it. So here's what to do instead. Be honest, be direct, be unapologetically you. If she wants to stay out until dawn, it's okay to say, not tonight. If she wants to dance in a loud, crowded club, offer a candlelit lounge instead. If she's ordering rounds of shots, you can sip your drink, enjoy the vibe, and call it a night with dignity. Don't dissolve into her world. Invite her into yours. Let her see what life looks like beside a man who doesn't chase chaos but builds calm. Who doesn't need to perform but leads with presence. A man who lives with intention, who values peace over noise, connection over show. Your age? That's not the issue. Your experience? That's not dead weight. Your maturity? That's not a limitation. Those are your greatest advantages. That silver in your hair? That's not fading youth, it's proof you survived battles she hasn't even faced yet. Those quiet mornings, your thoughtful pace, your discernment, that's not boring, it's attractive to the right woman. The one who's meant for you won't want you to perform. She won't ask you to change gears, slow your growth, or fake excitement over things you've outgrown. She'll be drawn to your stability, your clarity, your truth. You've lived. You've learned. You've endured. Own that. Be proud of the road you've traveled. Stand tall in your story and don't apologize for the chapters that made you the man you are. Because if she doesn't value that man, the man who stands firmly in his season, then she's simply not the one walking in yours. Your age is not your weakness. It's your edge. Use it. If any part of this message speaks to you, take a moment to support the channel. Like, subscribe. Not just to increase views, but to help us reach more men who need this reminder, men who've forgotten their value, men who need to hear this truth. Thanks for watching.